The moment the studio lights warmed and the audience settled, no one expected tension to ripple through the room. Cher arrived with her signature confidence, while Kelly Clarkson's trademark warmth filled the set. What began as playful banter slowly shifted as differing perspectives emerged, each comment landing with unexpected weight. Viewers could sense the air thicken, not with hostility, but with two powerful voices refusing to shrink. The exchange felt unscripted, raw, and oddly compelling, reminding everyone that authenticity can spark fireworks when legends collide. Kelly steered the conversation toward creative freedom, praising artists who reinvent themselves without apology. Cher nodded at first, then countered with a story from her own career, one marked by resistance and resilience. Her tone sharpened slightly, not aggressive, but firm, as she challenged the idea that reinvention is always celebrated. The audience leaned in, catching every syllable, as two generations of stardom gently pushed back, each defending hard-earned truths shaped by very different journeys. As the discussion continued, Cher's anecdotes grew bolder, her humor edged with experience. Kelly responded thoughtfully, attempting to bridge the gap with empathy and curiosity. Still, the contrast was striking, one icon forged in an era of rigid expectations, the other a symbol of modern openness. Their words overlapped briefly, a rare on-air moment where neither yielded. It wasn't disrespect, it was conviction meeting conviction, and the studio buzzed with the electricity of honesty. The clash reached its peak when Cher questioned the industry's selective support, implying that praise often comes with conditions. Kelly, visibly surprised, paused before replying, acknowledging the point while defending progress made. That pause spoke volumes. It signaled reflection, not retreat. The audience applauded softly, sensing they were witnessing something genuine, a live negotiation of ideas rather than a polished soundbite crafted for comfort. Then came the bold move that changed everything. Instead of pressing further, Cher shifted the energy by sharing a deeply personal memory, one that reframed the entire conversation. Her voice softened as she described moments of doubt, rejection, and self-trust. The room fell silent. Kelly listened intently, eyes wide, recognizing the vulnerability behind the legend. In that instant, tension transformed into connection, surprising everyone watching. Kelly responded with gratitude, admitting the story resonated more than any debate could. She thanked Cher for her honesty, noting how rare it is to see icons reveal the cost of longevity. The exchange became less about disagreement and more about mutual respect. Viewers at home felt the shift too, sensing that the earlier clash was never about ego, but about protecting values forged through struggle and success. Social media lit up almost immediately, clips circulating with captions ranging from awkward to iconic. Fans dissected every glance and gesture, some choosing sides, others praising the transparency. Commentators noted how rare it is for daytime television to allow such unscripted moments to breathe. The conversation, imperfect and real, stood out in a media landscape often criticized for being overly sanitized. Behind the scenes, sources later hinted there was no lingering tension, only appreciation for the honesty shared. Cher reportedly admired Kelly's openness, while Kelly expressed respect for Cher's trailblazing path. The so-called clash became a talking point not because it was explosive, but because it was human. Two stars, comfortable enough in their legacies to disagree publicly, then pivot toward understanding. For longtime fans of Cher, the moment felt familiar. She has never been one to soften her truth for convenience. From music to film to activism, her career is defined by fearless expression. Seeing that same boldness on a talk show reaffirmed why she remains relevant across decades. It wasn't about winning an argument, it was about honoring a lifetime of hard lessons. Kelly Clarkson's audience, meanwhile, praised her composure. Known for kindness and approachability, she navigated the moment without defensiveness. Her willingness to listen, adjust, and validate Cher's experience reinforced why viewers trust her. The exchange highlighted her growth as a host, capable of holding space for complexity without losing warmth or control of the room. Industry insiders weighed in, suggesting the moment could encourage more authentic conversations on mainstream platforms. Instead of viral outrage, this clip sparked dialogue about generational perspectives, creative ownership, and evolving norms. It proved that disagreement doesn't have to end in division. Sometimes, it can lead to deeper respect when handled with courage and grace. The audience reaction in the studio was telling. Applause came not at the sharpest lines, but at moments of vulnerability. People weren't rooting for a winner, they were responding to truth. That reaction underscored a hunger for real stories, especially from figures who have nothing left to prove yet still choose to share. In interviews days later, Kelly referenced the episode subtly, calling it a reminder of why conversations matter. She avoided sensational language, focusing instead on gratitude. Cher, in her own unmistakable style, brushed off the drama while reaffirming her commitment to speaking plainly. Neither fueled controversy, allowing the moment to stand on its own. The bold move, in hindsight, wasn't confrontation at all. It was Cher's decision to redirect tension into testimony. By choosing vulnerability over volume, she shifted the narrative entirely. That choice surprised Kelly and viewers alike, turning a potential rift into a memorable exchange rooted in respect. Media analysts noted how the clip defied expectations. There was no meltdown, no walk-off, no rehearsed reconciliation. Just two women navigating difference in real time. That simplicity made it powerful. It reminded audiences that growth often happens in uncomfortable spaces, especially when honesty replaces performance. Fans began sharing personal stories inspired by the exchange, discussing times they spoke up or listened differently. The ripple effect extended beyond entertainment news, touching conversations about age, gender, and voice. It was a rare instance where celebrity culture intersected meaningfully with everyday reflection. For Cher, the moment added another chapter to an already storied legacy. For Kelly, it reinforced her reputation as a host who values substance over spectacle. Together, they created a scene that will likely be revisited not for scandal, but for sincerity. The show's producers reportedly welcomed the organic moment, recognizing its authenticity. In an era of tight scripts and careful messaging, allowing such exchanges requires trust. That trust paid off, delivering one of the season's most talked about segments without resorting to manufactured drama. Viewers who initially tuned in for light entertainment found themselves engaged in something deeper. The clash, brief and respectful, served as a gateway to understanding different lived experiences. It showed that even icons continue learning from one another. Critics who labeled the moment heated later softened their language, acknowledging the nuance they first missed. Heat, after all, doesn't always mean anger. Sometimes it's the warmth generated when strong ideas meet in open air. The conversation also highlighted the evolving role of talk shows. No longer just promotional stops, they can become spaces for genuine exchange. This episode demonstrated that audiences are ready for that shift, responding with attention rather than backlash. As clips continued circulating, context became crucial. Those who watched the full segment understood the arc from tension to connection. It served as a reminder that sound bites rarely tell the whole story, and patience often reveals deeper meaning. Cher's fans celebrated her fearlessness, while Kelly's supporters praised her empathy. Instead of dividing fandoms, the moment oddly united them. Both sides recognized strength in honesty and grace under pressure. Weeks later, the episode remained a reference point in discussions about authentic media. It was cited in think pieces and panels as an example of how real dialogue can captivate without cruelty. That lasting impact spoke louder than any temporary headline. The bold move ultimately reframed the clash as collaboration. By sharing instead of sparring, Cher invited understanding. Kelly accepted that invitation, guiding the conversation toward mutual respect. The result was memorable, not because it was perfect, but because it was real. In a world quick to amplify conflict, this exchange offered a different model. It showed that disagreement doesn't have to escalate, and that listening can be as powerful as speaking. That lesson resonated far beyond the studio walls. For aspiring artists watching, the moment carried quiet advice: protect your truth, but remain open. Careers evolve, industries change, but integrity remains a constant. Seeing two successful women embody that balance was inspiring. The episode's legacy may lie in how it normalized complexity. No one was cast as villain or hero. Instead, viewers witnessed growth in motion, a rare and refreshing sight in modern media. As time passes, the heated clash label will likely fade, replaced by recognition of the honesty displayed. What endures is the example set. Courage paired with compassion can turn tension into understanding. In the end, Cher didn't shock Kelly Clarkson with volume or spectacle. She surprised her with truth. That bold move transformed a tense moment into a shared reflection, leaving audiences with something more valuable than drama, a reminder that real conversations still matter. As the discussion echoed across platforms, longtime viewers began revisiting past interviews where Cher had challenged norms with the same unfiltered honesty. This moment felt like a continuation of that legacy rather than a sudden disruption. Kelly's show simply became the latest stage where decades of lived experience surfaced without warning. The familiarity of Cher's candor reassured fans that authenticity, even when uncomfortable, remains her defining trait. Kelly's reaction continued to be analyzed frame by frame, not for signs of offense, but for cues of understanding. Her body language told a story of surprise evolving into appreciation. That subtle progression resonated with audiences who value emotional intelligence. It wasn't scripted empathy, it was a real-time response to someone speaking from a place deeper than performance. Entertainment journalists pointed out how rare it is for daytime television to allow silence. Yet in that moment, silence became powerful. The brief pauses between words created space for reflection, letting viewers absorb the weight of what was said. It proved that sometimes the most compelling television happens when no one rushes to fill the gap. Fans of both women shared clips alongside personal captions about workplace disagreements, generational misunderstandings, and the courage to speak honestly. The segment became less about celebrity and more about relatability. People saw their own conversations mirrored in the exchange, reminding them that growth often begins with discomfort. Industry veterans noted that Cher's bold move wasn't just personal, it was professional. By choosing vulnerability on a public platform, she challenged the industry's preference for polished narratives. Kelly, by welcoming that vulnerability, reinforced her role as a host who values substance over spectacle, elevating the tone of daytime talk shows. As days passed, the narrative shifted from heated clash to unexpected lesson. Viewers who initially tuned in for drama stayed for insight. The moment demonstrated how quickly perception can change when context is allowed to unfold fully rather than being reduced to a headline. Kelly's producers reportedly received messages praising the decision not to cut or redirect the conversation. Allowing it to breathe showed confidence in the audience's intelligence. That trust paid off, creating a segment that felt timeless rather than trend-driven. Cher's story, shared without embellishment, highlighted the emotional cost of longevity in entertainment. Success, she implied, doesn't erase struggle, it often magnifies it. That honesty reframed fame not as privilege alone, but as responsibility and resilience intertwined. Viewers from different generations responded differently, yet found common ground. Younger audiences admired Cher's fearlessness, while older viewers recognized the weight of her words. Kelly's presence bridged that gap, translating experience into dialogue rather than division. Comment sections filled with gratitude rather than outrage, a rarity in online discourse. Many thanked both women for modeling respectful disagreement. In an era of extremes, moderation and empathy felt radical, refreshing, and deeply needed. Media scholars later referenced the episode in discussions about authenticity in broadcast television. They argued that the segment's impact came from its refusal to simplify complex emotions. It showed that audiences are capable of engaging with nuance when given the chance. Cher's ability to pivot from firmness to openness became a focal point. That transition demonstrated emotional maturity, reminding viewers that strength isn't static. It adapts, listens, and evolves without losing its core. Kelly's role as listener proved just as important as her role as host. By resisting the urge to defend or deflect, she validated Cher's experience. That validation transformed potential conflict into mutual respect, setting an example for public conversations everywhere. Weeks later, reruns of the episode continued drawing attention. New viewers discovered the segment without the noise of breaking headlines, often interpreting it as thoughtful rather than tense. Time softened the edges, revealing the substance beneath. The exchange also sparked conversations about women supporting women without forced harmony. Disagreement didn't negate respect, it enhanced it. Seeing two successful women navigate difference without apology or hostility felt empowering. Cher's fans noted that this moment aligned with her lifelong advocacy for honesty and independence. From music charts to movie screens to talk show couches, her voice remained consistent. That consistency reinforced why her influence endures. Kelly's audience appreciated her willingness to share the spotlight with an unfiltered guest. Instead of steering the narrative back to comfort, she allowed discomfort to teach. That choice deepened viewer trust and strengthened her connection with the audience. Analysts compared the moment to past iconic television exchanges, noting how few withstand the test of time. This one, they argued, would be remembered not for controversy, but for clarity. It clarified how meaningful dialogue can emerge unexpectedly. The episode subtly challenged viewers to reconsider how they define heated passion. After all, isn't inherently negative. When guided by respect, it can illuminate truths that politeness alone might obscure. Cher's bold move ultimately reframed the power dynamic. Instead of asserting dominance, she shared vulnerability. That inversion surprised Kelly and viewers alike, proving that openness can be more impactful than assertion. As fan edits circulated online, music underscored the emotional beats of the conversation. These edits emphasized the humanity of the moment, stripping away sensational framing and highlighting connection instead. Critics who initially sought conflict gradually acknowledged the segment's depth. Some issued follow-up pieces praising the exchange as a masterclass in communication. That reversal underscored how quickly narratives shift when reflection replaces reaction. The conversation's longevity revealed a hunger for substance in entertainment media. Audiences didn't tire of the clip, they revisited it, shared it, and discussed it. That sustained engagement spoke louder than fleeting virality. Cher's presence reminded viewers that legends aren't frozen in time. They continue learning, speaking, and evolving. Kelly's response showed that respect across generations is built through listening, not assumption. The episode also highlighted the importance of safe spaces for honest dialogue. Kelly's show became such a space, even momentarily, proving that format doesn't limit depth when intention aligns with openness. Fans expressed hope that more shows would allow similar moments. Not every conversation needs to be confrontational or sanitized. Sometimes, authenticity alone is compelling enough. Cher's story lingered with viewers long after the applause faded. It prompted reflection on personal resilience and the unseen costs of success. That lingering impact marked the segment as more than entertainment. Kelly's closing remarks, calm and appreciative, gently grounded the episode. She acknowledged the honesty shared without dramatizing it. That restraint preserved the integrity of the moment. Over time, the clip became a reference point for respectful disagreement. Educators, commentators, and creators cited it as an example of how to navigate difference with dignity. The bold move wasn't a single sentence or gesture, it was a choice. A choice to be real in a space that often rewards performance. That choice resonated deeply. Cher's legacy gained another layer, not through music or film, but through conversation. Kelly's platform amplified that layer, transforming a talk show into a moment of shared understanding. Viewers who initially expected drama found themselves reflecting instead. That unexpected shift redefined their expectations of celebrity interviews, raising the bar for authenticity. The exchange subtly challenged the culture of instant judgment. It encouraged patience, listening, and context. Those values, though quiet, proved powerful. As new controversies cycled through headlines, this moment remained distinct. It wasn't fueled by outrage, but by insight. That distinction ensured its staying power. Cher's honesty reminded audiences that speaking truth doesn't require aggression, it requires courage. Kelly's response showed that receiving truth requires humility. Together, they modeled a conversation many aspire to have but few manage publicly. Their interaction became aspirational, not sensational. Fans revisiting the episode months later often described it as comforting. In a noisy media landscape, the calm resolution felt grounding. The moment also reinforced the idea that boldness can be quiet. It doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it simply speaks, then listens. Kelly's show gained praise for prioritizing substance, While Cher gained renewed admiration for her candor, both emerged strengthened, not diminished. In the end, the additional chapters written by audience reaction mattered as much as the original exchange. The conversation extended beyond the studio, living on through reflection, discussion, and understanding.